Never a dull moment at Occupy Philly. Let me show you why.
Hyenas. He went straight for the hyenas.
Hey man, I watched your ordeal here on YouTube when you were here last time.
Oh, okay, so you're a fan.
Oh yeah, you did a great job, man. That was one.
So
that was very.
So now it's your turn, huh?
You're against Ron Paul also?
Yeah. So now it's your turn. What's the issue?
Factions right here.
Project, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's the issue? Why do you have a problem with Ron Paul?
Well, I don't think Ron Paul has anything to do with this movement. This movement is about the 99% fighting back against the 1%. If Ron Paul had his way, the 1% would be smaller. He wants the corporations to have even more power over society than they do now.
And explain how that happens. How does that happen with Ron Paul's policies?
Well, Ron Paul wants the regulations of the corporations to go away. Ron Paul wants free trade. Ron Paul wants... basically, the corporations and Ron Paul have every reason to be best friends, and they are best friends. And there's, I mean, you could really say that about any Republican. You could really say that about any proponent of capitalism. Really, I mean, you get right down to it. But the fact that it's just that Ron Paul's the only one that's sticking his nose in this movement the way that he is. So I feel like he's the one that needs to be opposed. Listen, I think this movement is very important. I care a lot about it. And the reality is, when people drive by on this highway, they're going to be seeing the giant Ron Paul sign, and there are going to be people who are going to be associating this movement with Ron Paul, unfortunately. And I feel like something needs to be done about that, because, like I said, this movement is too important to have Ron Paul make a smear on it.
Okay. That's what I need to hear. Did you want to say anything?
No, it's just that I agree that it's amazing that Ron Paul is the only politician out here. And really, Ron Paul is opposite of what they're for. Ron Paul is like kind of every man for himself. You know, don't need public education, don't need public transportation, don't need public health, you know, just build your own gated community, you know, and you know, you can be happy just like the villas are in Mexico. Just like the villas are in Mexico. As opposed to the organized government of Canada. As opposed to the organized, you know, there are millionaires in Canada, but the second richest man lives in Mexico. Okay, you know, we think that Mexico is bad, but you know something? That second richest guy, Carlos Slim, he chooses to live in Mexico. You know, he knows that for 50 grand, he can have a lovely villa. He can have a lovely villa with servants for 50 grand. In Canada, no. In Canada, you're going to pay the health benefits of your servants, okay? In Canada, you know, you're going to help pay the public education of your servants.
Imagine just seeing wealth as access to goods rather than just a way of getting more wealth. Imagine that. I mean, it's almost hard to believe for a lot of people.
To me, it's ironic that Ron Paul is the only political candidate with a voice here, even though I understand why other political candidates are not here. I understand why, but it's just amazing.
Obama button's on you.
Oh, sure.
You got a voice. You're here.
Huh?
You got a voice. You're here.
You know something? I have Obama buttons on me, but I don't have a tent. I don't have a tent. My Obama button is nothing like that big sign. Okay? My Obama button.
So it's not that you're. The problem is politicians injecting themselves in Occupy Philly. It's how big their sign is.
It's about what Ron Paul represents. I feel as though Ron Paul represents something that is totally opposite of what Occupy Wall Street is.
What's Obama represent?
Obama? Well, I would say that Obama currently is the helmsman of the capitalist class.
Yeah, you guys are not on the same page at all.
Well, but
you
we
know
both.
something? You know something?
Well, that's
Jesse,
a reason for us not to oppose Ron Paul together.
As I told him 10 minutes ago, Jesse Jackson Jr. and Jesse Jackson Sr. are not on the same page. Jesse Jackson Jr. was very much pro-Obama at the time. Jesse Jackson Sr. was very much pro-Hillary. And there's a couple other issues that they don't agree with. You know something within my family, and this came up with, we were talking about racism, okay, right? We're talking about racism. You know something within my family, no two people agree on certain dynamics of racism. You know something? I laugh because in my family, at one time they said, I'm never going to say nigger again. I'm never going to say the N-word again. The next joke, 10 minutes later, they were saying the N-word again. So you know something? All people in all domains disagree. Okay? All people, you know something? There will never be two people who will agree on politics and other mass issues. There will never be two people.
Let me ask something right quick.
This Big Ten there's so many different views expressed here at Occupy Philly. That's a good thing, right? Diversity of opinion is a good thing.
That is a good thing, and ultimately,
except this opinion.
And no, nobody's attacking these people.
You've got a sign attacking, calling them hyenas.
And why is this? And let's answer his question. What makes this inexcusable? What makes this particular tent inexcusable?
Pretending to be a liberal. Pretending to be a liberal. Pretending.
Well, there's that. And this is a misrepresentation. This tent and those signs, I feel, are misrepresenting what this movement is about as a whole. It is about the 99% fighting back against the 1% and how they control 40% of the wealth in the United States. As I said, the 1% and Ron Paul are the people who are on the same side, and that is exactly who Ron Paul supports. That is exactly whose interests a Ron Paul presidency, in a Ron Paul presidency, those are whose interests will be served, and that's not what this movement is about. So I don't want people to think that who are driving by, and that is why I feel like Ron Paul needs to be actively opposed at this moment.
All right.
There are two political forces.
Oh, wait a minute. Yes,
there's two political forces going back to John Adams of Boston and Thomas Jefferson of Virginia. Okay, there's an urban perspective and there's a rural perspective. Okay, right? I do not want to live where there's 150 different political parties. Okay, right? You know something? At the end of the day, you know, when I go in the voting booth, I have to vote for one side or the other. Okay, right? On a bad day, I might vote for a third-party candidate. But I understand the value and the integrity and the beauty of a two-party system. And while my opinion may not agree 100% with my mother's opinion,
or their opinion,
okay, but they are on the other side of the political divide. On that, I am clear. They are on the Republican side of the political divide. 99% of these people out here are the Democrat side, okay, right?
Even if they don't represent the Democrats.
Even if they don't represent the Democrats.
Okay.
Even if.
See, y'all, I'm not the only one that has an issue with Ron Paul, and I'm far from the only one. And now you've seen it for yourself. This is going to be an issue as long as that tent's there. So, every time I come to Occupy Philly, life is good. All right, y'all. Talking to you. Peace.